Hello, welcome everyone. You are tuned in to, well, it looks a little bit different, but our weekly Wildcat Wrap-Up. Judson with the Wildcat Sanctuary here. I have Tammy, our founder and executive director, behind me. Like I just said, we're going to do things a little bit different, and this week's Wildcat Wrap-Up, I'm going to do a little Q&A with Tammy. I have a handful of questions, kind of the same normal to-dos, talk about cat updates, sanctuary updates, human updates, and as well as I'm going to be keeping an eye on some comments and hoping that maybe we can filter in some of your questions as we go along. So without further ado, welcome to this week's Wildcat Wrap-Up. Hey Tammy, how are you?
Hello, thanks Judson. I asked Judson to be part of this today to kind of, I've been so crazy busy onboarding.
I had to peel you from your desk.
So many people that have joined the TWS team that I said, Judson, hey, help me with this one. Remind me what the last week has been like.
Well, and as always, lots and lots and lots happening here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And I think the folks always like hearing cat updates first, so maybe we can start with that.
Yeah, so with the cold weather, we've been watching, especially the Asian leopard cats, how they're doing. As people know, we had merged Penelope, Mindy, and Eve, and those girls are getting along super wonderfully. And yesterday, Eve decided to venture outside, and what can happen if you guys have a cat door at your house, the plastic gets hard when it's cold out. And so we think Eve tried to go in and then felt like it was closed and it wasn't, and kind of was hunkering down in some bedding in a dog glue. And so the staff noticed that and actually carried the dog glue over back to the heated building. And as soon as she saw her friends, there was a lot of vocalizations and a lot of happiness. And then we did checks on her overnight, because whenever a cat's out in the cold for a period of longer time, we know they're pretty durable, but those are warm weather cats and older cats. And so Alyssa got up overnight just to make sure she was fine and she was doing great, and that, we didn't see anything upper respiratory. And so today they were doing great. So today Elise introduced Sam to them, and it's
been a party in Bungalow 1.
One so far, so good. So let's hope that Sam does well. And of course, if you're a sponsor parent of any of them, and if Sam is a permanent merger, you will get an update. These are just, as we know, play dates start, and some play dates are very short and some are very long. And so we've also had 2 other play dates in the last couple days, and we had Caracal's Mojave, Amira, meet Aurora.
Exactly.
And what they did, because it's winter, we want to be really careful with play dates. We don't give them access to their yards, because if a cat gets afraid of another cat and spends time outside, we don't want that. So they set up kind of in the small cat track area. Their 2 bedrooms are next to each other, and then they blocked off the cats across the way with plywood, and then they set up a kennel front. So they made like the hallway another neutral area. And they let all the caracals go in. And yesterday went really great. There wasn't any issues. It looks like Amira, the smallest one, was kind of the little spicy one, dominant one.
That's what I heard as well.
And then today we did another play date, and Aurora kind of stayed in her kennel, which Aurora likes to hunker down. And Mojave was going up to say, hey, let me see you. I met you yesterday. And she gave a lot of smacks, which caracals and servals love to do, but there was nothing inappropriate. She was just defending her space. And so we're looking at possibly a full merger when temperatures get back up to like 30 degrees in the next week, so that they can have indoor-outdoor access, and we can see how that goes and not worry about we know in the past, Aurora, when we put her with servals, she cohabitated okay, but she didn't want to share the indoor space. And we definitely don't want that to happen in the winter months. So they're taking every precaution, and we're taking it slow. But so far, that's wonderful. And as we talked about before, Gino and Sophie, we're going to try again as a play date in February when the temperatures are a little better. And those miracle matches or the moves and mergers are wonderful when cats can live with other cats and get the stimulation, but it also will have the domino effect of helping us get some of the new rescues that are still in quarantine out into larger habitats
Yes.
while we're building out still. And so it's a win-win. We never force it, but when it happens, it makes it for a pretty giddy day.
Exactly.
So.
And Tammy, I think it's interesting. You just described, two different mergers that are happening with two very different species. I think about from a caretaker's perspective, how does the merging process look different than what's happening in Bungalow 1 with the ALCs versus what's happening in Small Cat Track?
There's so many variables that go in because people think, oh, if it doesn't work, separate them. But with the ALCs, the Asian leopard cats, they are so shy around people that if we are there during the play date, and most times we won't see what the reality is because they're going to hide from us and they're going to wait till we leave to show their true colors. So with your help, we set up nanny cams, trail cams, and we watch it on an iPad and we watch what the interaction is from a distance. And Elise said she might allow Sam to stay in there, how it's going, which is great because originally Sam was a little bit too much for Mindy. But now that Mindy has her safe zone of her two girlfriends, girl power, she's a little more comfortable.
That's what it seems.
Yeah, where the caracals, even though Aurora isn't a people person, or a people cat, I should say, she's not afraid of people.
Yes.
She likes to tell us her disdain for us.
Yes.
And so that play date, they wanted to observe and be there and have shields, catch poles, even food, anything that might deter them. They also usually give a lot of enrichment so the cats are not focusing on each other. They have something neutral to focus on. And then different cats, when we go to a big cat play date, we're gonna pack them full with full bellies, which sometimes people think is opposite because you want to be able to separate them with food. But we know the cats that anticipate food a lot get really worked up if they're hungry or if they think food's there. So every one is planned very different, and it's based on the personality of the cats, the species of the cats, the temperature outside. So yeah, it's a very thoughtful process.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's as we often do, everything is specific, everything's individualized and tailored to the specific cat or the specific species. And so I think that's a good example of just fleshing even more of that out, of how we're evaluating these play dates, but that evaluation process, is still just as strict, but very different from one another.
Yeah. And a couple more animal updates. So the observations come through. So of course, cold weathers we watch. So we have stereotypical behaviors that we don't like to see in cats, but it's a good time to educate interns. There's cats that have might have hot spots, or cats that tail suck and things like that. Now, a lot of times everybody thinks tail sucking is just because it's boredom. Now that happens a lot with leopards. It's a more neurotic behavior. But we have cats like Dash that didn't have a sibling, and he sucked on his tails from he was little because he also sadly didn't have his mother, and so that became a learned behavior for him. So when he's in winter and he's sleeping more because he's got a full belly, it's cold outside and he needs his warm bed, he'll tail suck more. And so he's worn the fur, but he does not do anything to damage the skin or or any sores like that. So that we know has become a learned comforting behavior. Simon is very similar. Simon the tiger has done that. Where we have other cats like Shazam, that we know Shazam, it started from being a captive bored leopard in early years. It's something he's had for many years. We evaluate all the time. We've given him everything from the TV to several enrichment a day to the howdy doors so he can see the cats. And we learned that you can take away the problem, which is great. He's stimulated now and he's happy, but you don't always take away the behavior, like biting your nails. It's really hard.
That was the analogy that I was going to ask you to use. I think that's a great, just really describes that learned behavior.
A habit, and you might not need to bite your nails anymore, and you might not be nervous about what you used to be nervous about, but now it's a comforting tool for you. And then also Shazam damaged his tail, and we still don't know how that happened last year. And so when you amputate a tail, it's very sensitive. They get things called phantom pain. And so a lot of times if you amputate a tail, you might have to continue to amputate because they mess with it. So Shazam has started that tail behavior again. It's not dramatic, but we know it's picking up, and so we've evaluated that. Anastasia's another one. She came to us with an injured tail that had been severely degloved. Luckily still had some blood supply, but was injured, and so she's kind of always messed with that tail, and her anxiety comes in winter, and we still haven't figured out why winter is her trigger, but it's something that we notice right away. And so when we see this behavior, we definitely want to say not every cat is miserable and upset because they're doing it, because there is the learned behavior, the comfort behavior, then the neurologic, neuro behavior, the atypical, I'm stressed, I'm bored. That's the ones that we really curb and work with and watch really closely.
Yeah, I that's a great kind of delineating between those two, and it's definitely informative to know, particularly during the winter months. I'm going to interject on us, Tammy, and welcome everyone if you're just joining us. You're tuned in live to a Wildcat Wrap-Up. Judson and Tammy here talking all things Wildcat Sanctuary, and of course so happy to have our awesome supporters here joining us. Tammy, we've been talking a lot of cat updates. But truthfully, I think you've been most kind of busy in the world of the human side of things here at the Wildcat Sanctuary as of late.
Yeah, it's crazy. We've been growing our team, and we're so thankful about it. What we kind of didn't realize is that to grow it all at once it's so time consuming, but we want to onboard people appropriately. We want to set them up for success. And so it's normal for us to have interns come and start, our animal care interns. I'm trying to remember even how many there were, right? And then the media intern, I call him Tamu, but it's Temo, started. And now we have a lead intern that came back, and usually our lead interns just graduate from an intern. But this intern had left, done a few things, and is coming back as a lead, so we're refreshing that onboarding. And usually, Teresa and Kelly would do that onboarding. And Teresa, as we know, has moved on to things, and Kelly recently, she hasn't moved on completely because we're talking to her every day and doing Zoom calls, but she's not here, so that has fallen to me to onboard that group. But the caretakers are helping a lot, and Joan's helping a lot. It is a team effort, but it is something that was never on my plate for many years again. And then we have the new animal care manager and operations director starting on top of that. And so, and what's good about this is it's kind of like a reset. I said, as we're reviewing all the onboarding materials, all the safety materials, and going, okay, there might be a gap here because now we have all new people, and that's a great way for us to find that we need to update something or things like that. But everything we're going through, crisis communication, to the safety manuals, to the animal care manuals, to all of our educational pillars. We want them to know our mission, our strategic plan, our business plan, our budget, each department, meeting everybody one-on-ones. And of course, seeing and knowing the cats and all their backstories. So it's a lot to throw at somebody, but their onboarding is all the same in the beginning, and then it goes by department. So the new animal care manager, who we were calling the operations manager, because she's really managing the people and the workflow, where the caretakers know what they're doing out there exactly. They don't need that kind of work. But she's going to have full immersion as of Monday for however long it takes to learn every moment of every day of what the caretakers do. Where the operations director and I are talking about payroll and strategic plans and budgets and, okay, how do we update our onboarding tools and meeting with each department, because it's a new year, so we have all the business objectives and things. So it has been crazy, and I still have Miracle Match around the corner. So fundraising isn't back burner. I know your team too has been working on a new thing that next week, that will be rolling out. So fundraising hasn't stopped, and then on top of it, Catio Town. Oops! You'll see it in Uproar magazine.
Yes, I was going to mention Uproar somewhere in there.
Uproar,
that has some exciting.
Just mailed on Monday or Tuesday of this week. Well, it's Tuesday, so Uproar should be in homes and have some exciting news. But you'll see why I'm busy with contractors and architects and things like that. So.
Yes, very much so.
And we did have the fence company come out this week
to
look at the new area for the two bobcat areas.
Yep.
And of course, before we left, we decided we should allow space for 2 more habitats. So Bobby and Jesse are helping me draw pictures today, and we're gonna have to move that perimeter fence, compound fence, even further than we thought.
Well, this is exciting news to me as well. So, cool.
So a lot's been going on.
Very
so there
much
might be a few things that fall through the cracks that I hope I can pick up over the weekend.
You've encompassed a whole lot, Tammy, and so thank you thus far. And again, welcome everyone. So happy to have everyone with us. Happy Thursday. tuned into our Wildcat Wrap-Up here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Haven't seen too many questions come across the bow as Tammy and I have been talking and giving our updates here. I did see one question about how Essie's doing in her habitat. Essie, who recently did a flip-flop, Claude and Benson are now in her habitat and she is in Wildcat Pines. Essie's doing good. I think that Essie is, I think that we know her to be selective about the times of day that she's active, and I found that I can get some good Essie time in the morning and evening. And Tammy, maybe you can expand.
Yeah, she loves her indoor room.
Yes.
So that means it's going to be harder even for Judson to get photos because she loves her indoor room. But her neighbors, she's doing fine. Mm-hmm. She's not intimidated. She's not trying to take them on. I even at Huddle said, wow, let's maybe think of Essie with a friend again, and everybody laughed at me. Like, we have tried Essie with everyone.
Well, and that was one of the things kind of built into that move was for her, she was once in a bungalow, and now she's in a central animal building where she can see and smell other cats.
And hopefully learn bobcat behavior because she was not good at communicating in bobcat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we don't know what the future holds, but right now her move's been going really, really well. And like you said, I know that they moved Kaya, the new bobcat, from her temporary into a bigger temporary. She's actually in quarantine. And then next week is the Bogart, if he cooperates, to go in his crate. And Miko and Ripley switched. So then Bogart and Kaya will be next to each other. Okay. So still a lot of moves. And then I was sitting with the map last night and deciding where 41 hybrids are going to move to.
Well, we can't. We don't want to speak too much,
but we are going to have to move our hybrids. Yes. And so it's a big project. So I can't wait till you guys see Uproar. I really want you to see Uproar. I will hopefully get the big news on the website too, but stay tuned over the next coming months. We've talked about we wanted a better place for hybrids, and we have things in the works, so we're excited to bring you along for that journey.
Very much so, very much so. Well, Tammy, I think a good way to kind of always conclude is, you talk a lot about a lot of things coming down the pipe, but anything more immediate coming down the pipe, or anything else we'd like to talk about?
I think that I'll be adding to the wish list today. We need more dog houses.
Okay.
So all the cats have their indoor temperature control buildings, but what the caretakers asked of more dog loos outside with straw, so that when they do come out and want to see that they have areas to get away from the snow, and with all the new residents, we got some, but we've already used those up. So I'll be putting those on both the Chewy and the Amazon wish list as well.
Good to know.
So yeah, those will be added. So the wish list is always a great way to support, and we appreciate that. And sponsorships are always a great way. All the cats need sponsors.
Yeah, and especially too of coming out of this cold spell that we had the last couple of days too. Yeah. A lot of people donating to help keep our wild ones warm. Winter eventually showed up in January, so a big thanks towards that as well.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of it for me this week. I think next week I'll have a better list, and like a lot of the stuff I'm working on will be coming done. We have vet days starting again next week, so we'll hopefully be bringing live for you with some wellness exams like we've done in the past. So we appreciate all of you guys. I hope everybody stays warm. I know it's been cold across the country, and we're trying not to be those Minnesotans that go, what, 40 degrees in Florida isn't cold, or -10, and but we know if you're not used to it how extreme it can be. And we're just thankful that you guys support us, that we do have the infrastructure with all of our heaters, our in-floor heater, buildings for the animals, everything to keep them warm and toasty all winter long.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tammy, and thank you everyone out there. We will see you back here at the Wildcat Sanctuary tomorrow.